Hello, everybody. Welcome to XenTegra's IGEL Weekly, episode number 70. Hard to believe, number 70, but here we are. And I'm joined today. My name is Patrick Toner. I'm joined today by our co-weekly co-host, Sebastien Perusat, who, of course, leads up the IGEL community and is just a wealth of IGEL information. Seb, how you doing?
I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking, Patrick. Today's a special day to me, but I will tell you a bit more about that in a couple of seconds. So thanks for asking. No, it's good. We got the first snow for the year a couple of days ago, but it's already melting. So we're coming back to 13 degrees Celsius. Would have to do my math on Fahrenheit, but it's getting pretty warm for winter. But yeah, we're seeing this week that everything is starting to calm down a little bit. We are thinking that the business is also slowing down a little bit. So not complaining. All good on my side. What about you?
Yeah, same here. You know, it's funny this week in sales, when you're in the sales world, it's that week before Christmas, everything just falls off a cliff, right? As far as customer engagement, most of your customers are taking PTO. Everybody's gearing up for the holidays. You know, if you know, a lot of companies are, you know, if they have a calendar year budget cycle, they're kind of at the end. So they're going to make a purchase or they're not. If they're not going to make a purchase, they're probably pushing things. Hey, let's sync up in January, right? And so it's always a slow time. I was, a little funny story. Back when I was in healthcare, we basically everyone in my entire department would take PTO around the holidays, and we had quite a bit of PTO. It was a really very generous PTO structure there. Mm-hmm. And there was me and one other guy who we refused to take PTO those weeks. And the reason is because there was never anybody there. Like I would go into the office. And I remember it would just be me and this one other guy, and we were in this wing of the offices, and literally you'd have to walk up. We had these motion censored lights, and they would just start turning off everywhere. So we'd have to get up, wave our hands around, get them turned back on. And I got more done in those 2 weeks. It was my most productive 2 weeks. I had nobody to bother me, nobody to come in and interrupt. But yeah, so it's always a fun time, a little bit of downtime. And it's good, get to spend a little more extra time with the family. Of course, put some things together that you'll be giving to your kids in a few days here. So there's all kinds of things to do. So it's all good. By the way, Seb, I don't know anyone who's watching. I said, as you came on, it was very dramatic. I saw the shades of your windows slowly lowering. Very dramatic way to enter into the podcast.
Are you really wanting to know what I did just before we start the podcast? I did a firmware update on my smart home automation, and I just uploaded the files, and that has the consequence that some programs are running on the first boot, and that's what just happened. That was closing. So that's the reason. Just a firmware update.
Got it. That's pretty cool. Well, good. So Seb, I know today we have a special episode. It's number 70, which is pretty awesome. Closing in on number 100 rapidly. But 70 episodes of IGEL Weekly. But that's not the only thing today. We have another major milestone we'd like to talk about. So I'll just let you go ahead and announce it.
Lovely. So let me share my screen for those of our listeners who are already watching the video recording. So let me share the left part of my screen. And you should see in a couple of seconds the slide of the topic of today. Because I'm really proud to announce that the IGEL community is turning 5 today. So on the 20th of December, 2017, the IGEL community was founded. Let me just restart the slide mode. So Patrick, just please confirm that you are seeing the slide mode and not the presenter. Perfect.
Yep.
So we turned just 5 today. And I just put some information together. So we will, let's say, leave a little bit the hardcore technical discussions that we have usually on that podcast to make a kind of sum up about what happened the last 5 years. For the listeners who joined already the last session of the 2021, I already had a kind of similar yearly review about what happened at the community. Today will be a little bit different. So let's jump in, and I prepared a few slides. So it's a lot. We will not cover everything because some parts are also used for the meetup that we will have today with the IGEL insiders and the IGEL community itself. But your listeners are getting it as kind of a teaser before everyone else. So we're celebrating a bit of history about the IGEL community. For those of you who never heard of it, we created 5 years ago a community based on Slack, which you can join by join.igelcommunity.com, where we are talking deep dive tech stuff, helping each other, sharing information, sharing news, but mostly trying to support any kind of end user computing space questions. Where did it came from? So the very beginning of the history is just an announcement in the IGEL community on Slack by our not very own anymore, but still a very good friend of ours, Douglas Brown, who created the IGEL community. And the first announcement, what you're getting on the screen. So we're really just 5 years now later on, and the topic that we are covering there are still the same. We are still getting the same community chit-chat, GIFs, and funny memes and all that stuff, beside all the technical stuff. We were 280 members at the date of today, 5 years ago. Then at the Disrupt 2008, yeah, please interrupt me as soon as you're ready.
I think I can't help but overlook that last slide there. That's 218 members talking about a very important topic, which is, what is your favorite Christmas movie? And I see that Stuart said Die Hard. That's an endless debate. Is it a Christmas movie? Is it not? I think it is. I don't know. What's your thoughts? For me, it is. There you go. For me, any listeners, if you have an opinion on this, we'd love to hear it. But I'm definitely leaning Die Hard as a Christmas movie. In fact, I'm thinking maybe I need to tell my wife we should watch it tonight. But anyway, let's. I don't want to derail this too bad.
Maybe without the really young children's, but that's definitely a good plan.
After bedtime, for sure.
Yeah, that sounds better to me. But yes, definitely. So you're just getting some community chit-chat, right? And it was just a small amount of members from the end user computing space who Doug were able to invite, and people who are joining. And then I did this for 2018. That was just a couple of months later. To be more precise, 1.5 months later, the official announcement were made at our internal kickoff. And then in a second step at our first Disrupt event in Munich. And that's where I also started to learn about, hey, there's an IGEL community, let me join in. So I wasn't, I have to admit, the early adopter guy who was there from the beginning on. It took me 1.5 months to join, I have to admit. But there we were already to 367.
Hey, so Seb, is that picture, by the way, the picture you had up there, is that from Sales Kickoff in Munich?
Yeah, it is.
I was there. I just want everyone to know, all the listeners, Sebastien, I think you won like maybe 3 awards that day. I think your name just kept getting called. I was like, man, this guy has really done well this year.
I just paid a lot for it. I just paid a lot.
Yeah. So Seb was definitely a top-notch SE before he moved into his role in the community. No doubt about it.
And then I lost my soul. Or to be more precise, I sold my soul. No, just kidding. Yeah, it was an amazing night. Honestly, I have to admit, I didn't put it on the screen because I'm more proud than anyone else on the award side, but it was the 2 only pictures that I had. And I asked our marketing, hey, do we have some pictures about Kickoff 2018? And fun fact, it was before we moved to Office 365 and SharePoint Online. So no. And that are the 2 only pictures that I had on my personal phone. So yeah, just a coincidence, but thanks for pointing that out, Patrick. I appreciate it.
You got it.
Then a year later, we had again a Disrupt. Hard to believe, but we were again there. And the first insider and extremely technical people from the community were invited to talk about the community in one-on-ones, in testimonials we recorded for our igel.com website. We had internal meetings and so on. But there already were 1,469 members. So just in 1 year, it's a huge increase, even if we topped it a year later. If we think about the year 2020. So again, I'm always taking the Disrupt because at the beginning of the year, a lot of announcements, a lot of information are shared. And there, it was, I must say, the best event in the energy computing space I ever attended. Patrick, you were there too, right, in that year?
Oh yeah, yep. I agree. That was excellent. They had the rock band, right, with the fire shooting up, and it was
exactly
obviously right before COVID. Literally right before COVID started. But that was the last. That was the last like great event I think I was at before all that happened. So yeah, excellent time at Disrupt 2020.
Yeah, and I have to say, last time I have seen a lot of colleagues because since that time we had a lot of Zoom meetings, we had a lot of virtual come-togethers, but we never met again in person. So we are really looking forward for the next Disrupt event 2023. Don't want to hijack that call for making promotion of Disrupt events, but just saying I'm really looking forward to meet again all the colleagues that coming from around the world for our internal kickoff. And there, again, we shared a lot of technical knowledge and we shared the IGEL community love. And there we were already 3,079. And then, I mean, it's not a big surprise. We were all in the same situation. COVID hit in and we had to move a lot of people to the home offices. We had to enter a lot of ICG services from the IGEL perspective. We had the UD Pocket, which was a huge success in that moment. And that's where the IGEL community took another role in not being just a kind of fun place to ask questions, but how to help people, how to support people who are maybe living in the US, but having people and family in Germany and want to get in touch with them. So we tried to build some bridges there. It was really a tough time, but I guess we made the world a little bit better, just a little bit. And then 2021, still COVID situation, we were still in the teleworkers and our Disrupt event was in Zoom. I just made the picture of my cat sitting on my legs, me watching Jed and forgot his name, the storyteller Dakili, coming back now, telling us about the kickoff and the Disrupt, and at the same time meeting all my colleagues via Zoom and not in person anymore. And then, guess what? We passed 5,086 members. So that was a moment where we had a huge increase. It was about plus 20% compared to the years before. And we were thinking, hey, it would never go back to normal, but it did. And that's definitely something which helped us, because as soon as people came back to the office, also Windows 10, all of the Windows devices who are configured in a really fast way without any kind of security services had to be secured again, went back to the office and had to get IGEL OS installed or install the latest unified communication solution. And that's where the IGEL community again tried to help people. And then 2022, thanks whoever made that possible, COVID was more or less gone. I said more or less. And we are traveling again. We had our first Disrupt on tour events, and that's the reason why I took that one and not the real one. We passed the 7,800 members. Now coming back to today and not making a big surprise about where we are at the moment, I'm just sharing a report that we are sharing internally. So just a small overview about a big report that I'm getting and refreshing every week. But we have 9,300 right now. And you see on the graph, for those of you who are watching the video, that we have an increase, like I said, not a big surprise, at January, February 2020. And we are still keeping the same pace, more or less, a little bit less than last year and the years before. But we are still having 6 to 7 new members per day, which is good, to be honest. So yeah, and there is one extremely important part of the report that I would like to share with you, the community satisfaction. So customer satisfaction and NPS score are two extremely important metrics that we are trying to get regularly in the IGEL community, asking people, hey, are you happy with us? Can we do something better? Is there something where you're not happy with? And that's the result. So getting a CSAT, customer satisfaction factor of 94 is incredibly high. And I'm extremely proud of everyone who is helping us to achieve that number. We had 93 just before that for months, maybe 1 year. And same on NPS, we had 80, we just passed the 81 since 1 or 2 weeks. So really a big shout out to every listener who is already in the IGEL community and who just posted, make just one message to help someone else out. That's your success. And yes, that's where we were. Why are we how we are at the moment? We have a mission, and that mission is on the screen. I will just read it because it makes it easier for the listeners who are listening to the podcast. Create an exceptional member experience that rises above what our customers and partners expect and leave them inspired, highly educated, and with a sense of being a part of the IGEL family. And I must admit that it still warmed my heart to read that, because it really reflects to 100% how we are interacting between each other in the IGEL community, between humans.
Yeah, man. I think, Seb, that's awesome. I didn't realize it was over 93. What was that number? Could you go back to that real quick? I think it was
Sure. 94. You mean the
9308.
customer satisfaction? Yeah.
No, the
The comment.
members.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's just incredible to have. I mean, closing in
Yeah.
on 10,000 members. It's one of those things that I think, but even when I was at IGEL and even here at XenTegra, you go back because, basically it's the number one tool. I said this, quite a bit. It's kind of the number one tool in the tool belt if you're an IGEL admin is this user community. It's an incredible resource to be able to, go out, collaborate with other users that have, similar environments as you. Maybe you're in healthcare and you're managing Imprivata and you're managing, fill in the blank hardware vendor. Like there's probably a dozen others in that community that if you put a message out there, they're going to reply. You can collaborate. Hey, what are you doing for this? Oh, I'm doing this. Hey, I'm having an issue here. How can I fix this? Someone else will reply. Hey, I did this. This is how I fixed it. It's really an incredible resource, and to be closing on 10,000 is just incredible. So yeah, kudos to you guys. It's been an awesome ride. But I'm always having to refresh in my mind. Hey, how many members is it? Because when I tell the people, hey, it's over. I just told a customer, I think yesterday it was about 8,500. So I'm already way off. So which is a good thing.
Good. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's still a little bit of work to get there, because we were in the position where we had the COVID hit in. People were talking about, hey, where can I get help? Where can I get documentation? And people were just joining without us having to do any kind of paperwork in the background. But now that COVID, let's say, I would not say disappeared, that's not the right term, but it's not as effective as it was in the year 2021 and 2020. We have to bring the people to the IGEL community. And that's where we start a few processes. I will not go too deep into that because I'm not sure if I have a slide that I can show you on that, but I can just tell you, we started with LinkedIn campaign. We started with mailings. We went over event managing and having people sharing the IGEL community brochures and stickers and just, sharing the IGEL community brand to the market. And it's still a lot of work to do, and it definitely it's on my plate. I have to achieve that and to enable the people to share our IGEL community love. So we're going back on track, should I say, but we're still a lot of work to do. But we want to path in the 10,000 in the first step, and then let's see what the next goal will be. But 10,000 is definitely my goal that I want to reach at the early of 2023.
Awesome. Yeah, it's funny. I want to say it was my first 2 months or so at IGEL back in 2018. I met Doug. So they flew Doug in from Germany. We did a Northeast roadshow where we did, it was like Philadelphia, New Jersey, New York, and Boston. And, we had all these different, the Citrix people were involved. It was actually sponsored. XenTegra organized the whole event. And, it was the early days of IGEL Community. It was still fairly, it was growing, but it was, I don't remember what your slide said 2018 was, but point is, I meet Doug, he's telling me all about the community, what they're doing, the idea for it. And I thought it was a good idea. I never thought it was going to be like this, 10,000 users. I mean, and just so useful. I guess, it wasn't until the more and more I used the community, the more and more I got involved in the community, talking to people, hearing customer feedback, like, hey, I got this from the community, as opposed to having to go to support. You really start to see the value of it. And it's truly remarkable the way it's grown. And of course, Doug, for everyone listening, Doug Brown was with IGEL, I guess, about 4 or 5 years, has moved on to Control Up, where he's kind of doing this all over again for Control Up. I saw some buzz on LinkedIn about that the other day. People, get in their certification or something through the community. And there's just a huge value. I wish more technology companies would embrace this. That CSAT score right there of 94 is just, that's super high. I mean, to have that type of customer satisfaction score, and this is what customers want. That's just something that if more technology companies would listen, and they would take a look at this as a case study, they would see you need a user community. You need to have something like this if you want to have a growing user base.
I would even say that existing communities could maybe rethink their approach, because I'm also part, obviously, of a lot of communities, and we are still having the same situation where we have personas. Personas are, for me, roles inside of the community, where people who are joining, asking a question, getting an answer, and leaving again. But then we have a lot of different personas, people who are there on a weekly basis, on a daily basis, who want to help each other, who want to share also knowledge, who want also to gather knowledge from other people. And that's the kind of people I would like to leverage and to enhance even more. But at the same time, I know how difficult it is to moderate a community. And I know that a lot of companies are seeing that as a kind of nice add value, which has to be cost-free in a perfect world, and should be used for making publicity about their product, about their services, but who are losing I would say, the objective about what the community should do, being a helpful and kind place to exchange informations. And if you have that focus on, and if you don't lose it, I'm pretty sure that, yeah, you can definitely make the world better, because it's not only having technical questions, but sometimes you have also you have friendships who are getting engaged there. And I cannot tell how much extremely warm and emotional moments we had in 2020, 2021. People who died, who were obviously leaving the company, or people who get married, got children, who made their announcement also in the IGEL community. So there's so much different emotions where we went through the year 2021, 2022, that it's more kind of, how should I call it? Yeah, family, maybe it's not the right term, but it's really a huge friendship that is happening over there. And I have to admit, that's not something that I shared on the slides, but I can tell you one thing. I just had to delete 2 posts in 5 years because of, I would not say not being kind or being rude, but where it wasn't okay to post that. It was one thing was a political thing, the other one was a COVID thing. But besides that, everyone is kind, friendly, and extremely helpful. And that's something you cannot buy, because it just, if you have such kind of human beings in your community, you are blessed, but you can also have something absolutely different. And we are just trying to canalize that kind of discussions and help situations to make something better. So yeah, long answer to your point, but yes, I agree 200%. And I must say, even if it's not part of IGEL anymore, I'm definitely extremely thankful for what Doug shared and to which kind of mentorship he delivered also to me. And I wish him obviously all the best at Control App. So that was just a small kudo to him in that case.
Shout out to Doug Brown if you're listening. We love Doug here at the podcast, I guess I could say. Yeah. Well, so Seb, you mentioned 10,000 is kind of the next benchmark, right? And I think looking at the way this is trending, I would say if you're not at 10,000 by February, March, I'd be surprised. Just the way this thing is exploding. I don't want to put any, no pressure, but so where do you see it going from there? I mean, so let's say you hit 10,000, which you're absolutely going to do. Where do you go from there with the IGEL community? What's the future look like? If you could just, fill us in on the thoughts of the leadership there.
Give me 10 minutes and we will reach the vision for 2023 and the future on the last slide, if you wouldn't mind. But I can definitely answer a few things already now. 10,000 is one goal, but obviously we have other goals to achieve. And one thing that is on my list for 2023, and that's not a big teaser because we already made some announcement about around the 2 Disrupt events happening in Nashville and in Munich. We are trying to bring the brand IGEL user groups powered by IGEL Community to the market. So we want to have our own IGEL user groups launch in 2023, where the goal is obviously to share the same technical deep dive kind of information with the market on site, face to face to people. And we are delivering that in North America and in Europe at the 2023. So that's just a small teaser. I will cover that at the end of the slide, but that's one thing I can already mention right now at that slide point.
Okay, very good.
So the mission, besides we had some goals and objectives, I will just go through a couple of things there because it's just one bullet point after another. But one extremely important thing is, if you look about what we achieved at the next slide, or let's say in 2 or 3 slides, you will see that most of the objective, being a magnet for the smartest minds in the user community, a place members want to hang out, fastest and most accurate way to get support on IGEL, besides the official IGEL support, obviously, a place for great conversations happening about ecosystem, highly visible both online and offline, ability to keep IGEL, alert to potential challenges, and develop new ideas, well organized and highly searchable, staffed by IGEL and prioritized as a weapon in support, sales, etc. Not overly commercialized and invaded by corporate marketing. And last one, a model for creativity and innovation for tech communities worldwide. I have to say, I never say that we fulfill everything, because I'm always thinking that we can definitely do better, and there is always room for improvement. But I would say that from the goals that are there and written down by Jet, by the way, we are pretty close to what we defined at the beginning. But let's sum up that in a couple of seconds. So now I'll just start a small quiz, so you don't have to answer obviously every point, but I just want to share a few fun facts about the IGEL community before going at the end of the presentation. So you might know that we have an IGEL Insider Award that we're delivering 1 time per year. So that's our own very important person, so VIP program in the IGEL community. This insider group is obviously being awarded every year. So we have changed, we have people leaving, we have people joining, but we have a small core group of people who were there from the beginning on until today. So what, I mean, you know most of them, Patrick, but would you have one name where you're saying, hey, that could be the insider who posted the first, the first message in the IGEL community? If not?
I'm sorry. I'm sitting here talking on mute. Apparently that's a thing that still happens. So yeah, I mean, it's no, I'm sure. So you're at so it's actually the first post ever in the IGEL community. Is that right?
The first insider who posted
the first insider
the IGEL community. Yeah.
Man, I don't know. I'm gonna go just because he's top of mind for some reason. I saw some of the pictures. I'm gonna go with David Prowse.
David, close to him. It was just 2 days in between, but there was Carl Webster.
Sure, that was my second guess.
You see, it's, I mean, Carl is always extremely fast. I mean, not saying David is slow, not at all. David, big kudos to you, by the way. But in that case, Carl was a little bit faster than David. Then, which insiders posted second?
Well, I think I already guessed this one. David Prowse. Yeah? How's that?
Stuart Donaldson. No.
I'm just going to guess the same for everyone at this point. Because if I don't say David Prowse for the next one, it'll be David Prowse as the answer.
Might be. Yes, Stu is an extremely kind person and helping us a lot in his different positions. And it's always fun to chat with him. Not saying that it was not fun to talk with Carl, because I'm reading all his articles on PowerShell. It's an amazing work. Stu is really a fun guy to talk with. By the way, I never met all of them in person. So I'm just meeting them in Slack and the IGEL community. So I'm really hoping to see them in Nashville next year.
By the way, Stuart create the IGEL Experts website?
That's a really good one. No, it wasn't Stu. To be more precise, and I have to think back, it was Daniel Ugarte.
Oh, that's right.
It was Carl Berendt and a couple of Falk Heiland. Sorry, forgot to mention him. And I would have to double check. That's the 3 names that come to mind. But I have to say sorry if I forgot someone. I know there was more, but I would have to double check.
Little Easter egg there, by the way, because no one ever talks about that website, but IGELexperts.com. There's some pretty cool stuff on there. Some nice little guides and how-tos.
Especially in terms of 802.1x certificate enrollment. That's one of the most well-written documentation that I have ever seen. And I'm including there Microsoft and every other vendor who product that product.
I agree. I've shared that many times, configuring 802.1x from that website.
Yeah. Honestly, I love it. It was from Daniel, if I remember right. And that was, I'm still referring to it today, even if there is really small changes, but still the main route to follow is the same. And it's extremely powerful for people who never have thought about that topic. Agreed. Next one, which member of the year? Because we talk about the IGEL Insiders, we have the IGEL VIPs, but we are also member of the year. Who were the first who was the first member of the year of the Agile community posting something?
Well, I'm going to go with Carl Webster on this. I'm just because he posted first. That would be my guess here.
Dang.
Oh, look at that.
And
see,
you should have said David Prowse. You should have said
guns. I should have stuck to my guns as David Prowse, of course. So David, if you're listening, I never doubted you. That was just I should have stuck to my guns.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I made it not especially misleading, but I was sure that David Prowse would be definitely on the top 3 people who will be answered. And no, it was not Dave in that case, but he wrote the first time in March 2018. So yes, don't ask how to get that kind of reports, but I hope that I made no mistake, but I'm pretty sure I didn't. But just in case, yeah, that's the last date. Then what was the very first post? That's a pretty obvious one. I mean,
I'm assuming it's going to be Doug Brown saying,
yeah,
hey,
exactly.
There we go. Hello and welcome to the Agile Software Platform. What did you call it? Agile Software Platform Project. Yeah. That was the original. Yeah. Okay.
That was the original title on the announcements. And I mean, it's still warms my heart to read that. And I gave you already a hint on one of the slides I showed before. One of the very beginning, that was the first post he made. And yeah, I scrolled back to that one, and that's the beginning of our actual journey. So yeah, Douglas was obviously the first one. Then, I mean, that's something you might know that maybe, Patrick, but it's still a difficult one. What was the first Agile employee posting something in the Agile community?
Well, I mean, I guess the Doug Brown post didn't count. Is that?
Yeah, sorry.
So it'd be after that.
Yeah, right.
I don't know, but I would imagine Jed would have posted something. So I'm just going to guess Jed, but I have no idea.
Now, it was Ivan Koljak, who was in charge of the Eastern Europe pre-sales role to that moment, and who is now working in CX. So that was the first post. He wasn't officially, so it's a little bit misleading question, because he wasn't officially at Agile to that moment from his email address, but he was already an Agile employee. So Ivan was the first one who posted something. It was just one day after creation.
Got it.
So then I will just go through the early adopters, but that's just more information. Hey, who were there from the beginning on, and how many posts did they? So I'm really meaning who posted something between the 20th of December and the 1st of January. So people who are really there from the beginning on. And we have specific names. We have Douglas Brown. I left him in the report because, yeah, he is not part of Agile anymore, but he is still part of our heart. So Douglas Brown obviously is one of the top one. Then we have Christian T. Drilling, who was in pre-sales at that moment and in charge of the pre-sales team for the EMEA one. Then we have Frederick Bradstick, that you will see him on the meetup today, who is in charge of everything which is related to GPU, to Citrix, deep dive AVD stuff. Barry Brown, member of the year. Richard Panner, never had to deal with him anymore. Carl Webster, Hank Jan, still both of them in the insider group. René Bigler, still an insider. Daniel Ugata, still an insider. Jan-Hendrik Meyer from Citrix now, and a couple of other people like also Ivan. Then going back to the last quiz questions, who poses the most all time? I have to say, I excluded Douglas and myself because we were working on the Agile community.
Yeah, that's a tough one. You know, I'm gonna go with an outsider here. One of my former customers who I know is very active, Jeremy Gov. I don't know if he's gonna be
yeah, sure.
If he's gonna be in this.
Great guy.
Very great guy. Very smart Linux guy too.
Exactly. No, not exactly.
Oh, Ron Nair. Okay. I should have guessed Ron.
Yeah, he's definitely the most active non-Agile community employee and in general Agile community member in the Agile community. So he joined, I have to double check, but it was in 2020, I guess. And he really went over the top by having his GitHub site created for the custom partition, by creating documentation and private build, release notes, gathering. So he's on the top. And then we have David Prowse. You should have said that one.
I know that was I almost did. I just, I figured, you know what, I've already missed that boat. So it's
that's
number 2 all time. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
I see Chris
And
Bates on there, of course, in IGEL support. He's probably
Yeah.
just answering a lot of support questions and that type of thing, which is very cool.
Yeah, not only that, he is helping a lot of people, as Josh Locher too. Josh is not such active as Chris, but that doesn't mean that he's not helping on the same level. Both of them are really spending their spare times. I mean, as well as Ronair, doing that in their spare time, because they're not working for the IGEL community. They're not part of the IGEL community team. They have no objectives to deliver a lot of answers. No, they're just doing that from the bottom of their heart, just to help people. So a big shout out also to René Recker, to Lars Glöckner, and to Udo. Some of them are active in a kind of feel good, some for the technical approaches, some for support questions, for documentation. And I have to say also thanks to Barry Brown and Milan P. Milan P is I would say quite fresh IGEL community member. I don't want to tell you too much because I'm not sure if he wants me to do so. But he is definitely a customer who is doing. I can't give you a name on it. He is just creating documentation, helping. He is a Linux guru. He is sharing Linux and shell comments. He is writing technical wrap-ups for our hardware. An amazing guy, honestly. I mean, I wouldn't want to miss anyone on that list, but Milan definitely went from the beginner to an extremely hero of IGEL and IGEL OS and IGEL UMS administration. So a big shout out to Milan also.
Yeah, the amount of talent on this list right here is pretty remarkable, right? I mean, you just look at the names on here. If you took this group of guys right here, just collectively took all of the information they know, it would be, volumes and volumes worth of Linux knowledge, IGEL knowledge, all types of Citrix knowledge. It's really cool.
And kind of at the same time.
Oh yeah, all these guys are. No, I was just thinking I have to reach out to René Recker. I haven't talked to him in a while. As you're going down the list,
if you want, join us on the meetup in 1.5 hours on our IGEL community Zoom meetup, and you will see René and a lot of others old IGEL colleagues if you like.
I might have to bounce on there for sure. That sounds like a good plan.
Perfect. Then last question from the quiz. If you are part of the IGEL community, you are seeing that I'm extremely boring and person who is always wanting people to answer in thread. So if you have a question and you answer directly in the Slack client, you will create a new post and not answer to a specific question. So I'm always writing to the person, then in one of these sub posts, hey, the thread continues here, just in case someone is searching, find the post outside of the thread and wants to get back to the main thread. How many times, not a question I want an answer on, Patrick, but how many times do you think I'm doing that since the beginning on?
Well, first of all, I just want to comment. It's funny that you put this in here because, if there's ever something like, I wonder if anyone's come across this, I'll search it in the IGEL community. And if I see a thread, it's almost inevitable. I see Sebastien in that thread, and I've seen this many times. I'm going to go, I don't know. I'm going to say conservatively 1,000. I don't know. It's hard for me to guess. 178.
Yeah, it seems like 1,000 times. And I was surprised too. But it's just 178 times from the beginning on. So it's less than I would have expected, I must say. But still, please answer in thread. That helps me a lot, and all the other people who are searching in the IGEL community. So yeah,
listen, super useful. And I will say this: every time that I see it, hey, other thread here, I'm going to click on it. I'm going to see what the other thread is about, and so it's a very useful thing you got to throw out there. Hey, people have already talked about this.
Thank you. Okay, last question is now done. Let's come back to the facts about the IGEL community. So the funniest CSAT command, so the customer satisfaction survey that we are doing in the IGEL community, is also giving you the ability to give comments on what we are doing. I'm getting obviously some negative, some positive ones. I'm definitely agreeing on everything because we can perform always better. Just sharing a few fun ones that I had. I prefer alt-style forum software. The Slack is somewhere unstructured. Thanks, mate. I mean, yes, I had a hard time to find my way in Slack to work, but now I must say it's one of the best collaboration software I've ever seen if you are using it in the right way. But I cannot complain, it's true. I like the IGEL community equal awesome, just because, okay, you summarize everything of the last 5 years in 3 words in one magical symbol. that one is hurting me a lot because it's related to me. Moderation, especially comments not within the topic of the channel, can be relaxed. No, we want to stay in the topic of the channel. But yeah, then for the love of God, please stop using the @everyone announcement so frequently.
Was that some shaded Doug Brown potentially? Because only a handful of people can use that, right? The @everyone.
Yeah, true. I would not say Doug or myself, but one of our two persons were using that quite regularly. Yes. Then I like that one. You're all awesome. When I grow up, I want to be just like IGEL. And a smile. I must say, I had a big smile on my face when I read that. And thanks to you, Carl. I'm not knowing who you are, but just from my side, a big thank you. It made me smile. And then the last one, give Seb a pay rise. Yes.
There you go.
Finally, the truth is coming.
Jet Airs, if you're listening, it's very important you give Seb a pay raise.
Thanks, Patrick.
I'll second that one. There you go.
Thank you. I will send you the money via PayPal.
Great.
Thank you for bringing.
You're supposed to say that off the recording, but okay, that's fine.
Then just a short summary about what we did between the 2020 and 2022, because we're running a little bit out of time and I don't want to worry you. So we have the IGELCommunity.com website, which is the standard registration platform and searchable platform for everything which is related to the IGEL community. All the videos, the meetup, the Tech Tip Tuesday videos, the technology partner meetup that we created, everything is uploaded to YouTube, but to make it searchable, to make it more user-friendly, we have videos.igelcommunity.com. We created the archives.igelcommunity.com website to make content from the Slack communication available for search engine. So if you're searching for, I don't know, RDP, certificate error, blah, blah, you should find a link to that webpage. And from there, you can find the corresponding article in the IGEL community. We created some blogs, and I know we were a little bit lazy in the last months. We're now coming back on track. We are creating blogs again. We have the VIP program for the IGEL Insider, IGEL Awards, IGEL VIP, IGEL Member of the Year, IGEL Fellow, and so on. We have the private build communication going down. We're having a team now. I mean, it was a team of Doug and me. Now it's me being alone again for a couple of months, but we are seeking for an additional headcount. We have the meetups. So we are meeting at least one time a month to share IGEL and end-user computing space technical knowledge. We have the hardware compatibility list where you can check by yourself, hey, either specific hardware working with IGEL, not saying it is supported, just saying that others tested the solution and found out that it works. The getting started guides, which helps you from being a zero, so to say, in the IGEL world to become a hero in the IGEL world. So how to install the IGEL UMS, IGEL OS, how to install the IGEL Cloud Gateway, and so on. Early access programs, so having access to products that IGEL will release in 1 or 2 years sometimes, but having your hands on like the IGEL OS 12 and UMS 12 at the moment. So yeah, that's just a short summary because there's a lot of way more around that. But just saying, 5 years is not only having a question in Slack and answering it as fast as possible and accurate as possible. No, there's a lot of things around that. And just for the year 2022, and that's not my first slide, but last 2 slides, what happened in 2022? Doug left IGEL. And by the way, all the best, Bob. I wish you that you will be as successful as you were at IGEL. We definitely wish you all the best. We are back in CX, so as you might not have known that, but the IGEL community is now back in the customer experience. So we are now back where we came from and where we will cooperate as best as possible in the company. CSAT and NPS raised. We never had that one. It's just amazing to be at 94 CSAT and NPS 81 and just to pat 9,000 members already. We are visible on IGEL community events because, yeah, we made a lot of work on creating stickers, brochures, Google alerts, banners, and so on. I know it sounds extremely easy, but it takes some time because you have to create the graphs, you have to create the text, and I'm not an English native speaker, neither a writer. So it takes some time to create all that. We have the IGEL user groups, which are now in in track for 2023. We're a new collaboration in the Agile ecosystem. I'm slowing me down because I don't want to be that one who is answering first. That's a project that I started a couple of weeks ago, where I'm not jumping in every question. I'm just saying, okay, give them 1, 2, 3, 4 hours, and then if no one answered, I will jump in. Web services moved from Duck to our site, so now we are all in the Agile ecosystem. We are using LinkedIn and numerous social media channels to share the Agile Community brand. Meetups are back. We're meeting again 1 time a month now. And we are creating wallpaper contests, so just giving you a teaser because we just have 5 minutes left, but we are launching a new product in the beginning of the year 2023, which is IGEL 12. The IGEL 12 will hold an IGEL Community wallpaper for the first time. And guess what? You and the IGEL Community member will be able to create and to upload your own wallpaper. And we'll vote which one is the best looking one, and we'll integrate your work in the IGEL operating system. So that's a huge commitment also from our product management and company to what you're delivering to us. What's next? Coming back to your point, Patrick, and I promise that's the last slide. Vision for 2023. I want to enhance workflows. I will not have the time to show you what it means, but I integrated some JSON workflow in the IGEL Community on Slack. By just entering one specific emoticon, it will create an automatic text with asking questions like which UMS version, which IGEL OS version, having a form for asking for advanced services, asking for specific private births. So that's a huge step for the next way. Then working with Ron and leveraging the GitHub cooperation, involve new technology partners. I would love to have people, I can just give you a name, but having Imprivata joining our program, because we have a lot of Imprivata questions. So maybe creating there also a new connection. Having a beta program where all the early access programs that we were talking about will be included. Having that user groups being as recurrent as possible. Bring the feedback loop back in the company, but also share more of our IGEL community inside of our different departments. And obviously, I'm working on the Insider VIP and Member of the Year announcement. So just a small information on that. I will make the EMEA announcement during the Disrupt in Munich, and I will promote the Member of the Year and IGEL Insiders for the North America part at Nashville, hopefully. I have some special surprise for the VIPs. Obviously, I can't tell you what, but we're working on something really cool. And I want to bring back the Tech Tip Tuesday videos, also the base that we're using for our podcast with XenTegra, because we are not where we should be at the moment, but it's just because, we're missing a little bit of time. And yes, have fun. And I'm done now. Thanks all for being there and helping us to make that happening and make us lasting at least 5 years until now.
Yeah, no, it's a great milestone, Seb, and definitely looking forward to many good years ahead. And there's no doubt it'll continue to grow and to flourish just organically, which is so cool. Well, great. Well, Seb, I really appreciate that. The insight there. I was really surprised by some of the stats. I don't think I realized. How high that customer satisfaction score was, things like that. I mean, it's really cool to hear that. It makes sense to me why it's that high, but you don't see those very often. Well, great. So, and the one thing that stuck out to me, and I'll just kind of say this one out loud, is really happy that the IGEL community meetups are back. I definitely, you invited me to the one today. I want to get as involved with them as I can. I encourage everybody listening. Get involved, start to join them and meet people, meet your peers. It's just a great way to network and to meet people, share ideas. So that to me is music to my ears. I'm really looking forward to that type of a future with the IGEL community, Seb. So thank you.
Thanks, mate. Really appreciate it. It warmed my heart. Thank you very much.
Great. Well, we're kind of right at time here, so ended perfectly. So Seb, thank you very much for sharing. Everybody, thank you for listening. And of course, have a great holiday season. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, have a happy New Year. Really looking forward to a great next 2023. And as always, we just appreciate all the listeners and everyone who gives us feedback. But enjoy the time with your family, and we will see you next year.
I hope so. Thank you very much, Patrick. Same from my side. I wish you all a great time with the family, with your beloved ones, and don't drink, don't eat too much. I know that you already had your Thanksgiving behind us. So yeah, take care of you and your beloved ones, and see you next year.
Great. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. Have a great week.
Thanks, Patrick. See you next time.
See you, Seb.